Hello everyone, my name is Michael and I'm one of the producers with Gimbal and Gimble, and today I'm going to go over my song submission for the Roomiemelody challenge. I'll show a quick preview of what the finalized version sounds like, and if you'd rather not hear that and you want to wait till the end, just skip ahead a few seconds and I'll get started.
Get back your soul.
Okay, so the first thing I did was find some vocals that I liked, and these are just from some sample pack I had. I pitched them up a semitone to match the key of the original melody, which made them sound like this.
Is it true we're a million lost people afraid to fly?
The next thing I did was come up with some chords that fit it. I played them on a piano, and the chord progression sounds like this. One trick that I did for the chords was inversions, which I like to do in a lot of my songs. It helps kind of make them sound more emotional, I think. So for an example of that, if you look at the first chord, which is a G sharp major chord, it'll normally sound like this, which is kind of bright, uplifting, and happy, which didn't fit what I was going for. So if you bring this top note down an octave, it'll make it sound a bit more emotional, which I thought fit the song better. The next thing I did was cut the low frequencies and add a bass to it, because the piano bass was weak on its own, and those sound like this. Later in the song, I chopped up the chords to get some movement going and get some groove going, and I changed to a different bass that fit that better, which sounds like this. And when played with the piano, it sounds like this. That's the same point where I added the melody we were given. I was originally going to try and use it as like a lead, but I didn't like the way it sounded as a lead. So I thought it would work better kind of in the background, maybe as some ambience with it. So I wrote it out and I added an arpeggiator to it to bounce them around a little bit. And that sounds like this. The other stuff in the verse is just some drums and effects. The first thing I did was add these snaps, and there's actually two of them. There's one that's a little bit wider than the other, which helps get the movement going in the song. There's also these like cymbal transitions. It's a reverse cymbal and a crash that are actually just from some Splice trap sample pack, but I thought it fit the mood and sounded good. There's also some ambient noises, which is just some white noise and some birds, as well as some strings to help build the suspense. I also added these reverses to help move the song along. Later we get to the build-up, and that's when we introduce the melody that we're going to use in the drop, which sounds like this. But I'll come back to that in a little bit. There's just a filter automation on it to kind of bring it in. Everything else in the build-up is pretty standard, just some snares, some risers, all filtered, and a sub drop before the actual drop. One thing that you heard there is there's actually a sidechain in the master track. I don't really know why I like it, other than I think it sounds pretty cool and it adds a cool effect before the drop. Just right here. So then we get to the actual drop, and I'll start with the lead. I kind of wanted something that was slidey and pitch bended all over the place, so I came up with this. It's just a few silent patches that I added some portamento to so they would slide around. I like using pitch bends a lot because it keeps things interesting, so you can use kind of like a simple melody, but because of the pitch bends it sounds a lot better, in my opinion. Next thing I did was add a bass, which is a serum and a silent patch together, and it just kind of bounces around the same way the melody does, like this. I also added these chords. One trick that I like to do with a lot of the chords, and I also did here, is actually add a pitch bend to the start of the chord. It's just a really sharp pitch bend down like this that'll actually help bring it out and punch it through the mix. And then I mixed it up on the second chord and had a pitch bend that came up rather than down. So it'll sound like this. I thought that sounded pretty cool. I also added these little glitchy ARPs, which is just a serum init patch with a cutoff filter on it. And then a lot of reverb and delay. Everything else on the drop is down here, which is all the drums. So we'll start with the kick, which was kind of a big thumpy kick that I thought fit the mood I was going for. And then I also added a tom to keep the groove going. I added these claps and a reverse clap, again to help with the movement. The claps are pretty wide, which is something I like to do in a lot of the songs that I make. I also added these hi-hats, which are just pretty simple, but again, it just helps keep the groove going. On the second 4 bars of the drop, I added a shaker loop to keep things interesting and mix it up a little bit. There's also these like effects and transitions, which I do to transition to different parts of the drums. There's like a crash with a reverse, which is this one, and some rides that are pitching up and panning back and forth, which helps move to different parts of the drums and keep everything flowing together. I also used this white noise sound with it, and then I had these fills that I thought fit. There's also these 2 little glitchy effects that are kind of hard to hear in the final mix, but again, all these little things will just add up, and I think it helps move the song along and keep the rhythm going. So that's pretty much everything I did to make the song and everything that's in there. I can't really think of anything else off the top of my head. If you liked it, make sure to let us know in the comments down below. I don't know if this is something that I'd want to end up releasing, but I figured it'd be fun to add it to the challenge and see what happened. The whole thing took about, I think, 5 to 6 hours with mastering and mixing the song, which is pretty quick. I usually take a while to finish my songs, but anyway, I hope you like it, and here's the finalized version.
Is it true we're a million lost people afraid to fly? We're letting them hold us down until they make us die. It's not right, we're getting stronger. I will fight, it'll get harder. It's our life, it's our life. There's no time, stop holding over. Come with me and fight. Stop holding over, it's our life. You want to be alive, or get back your soul. Or get back your soul.
Alright, thank you for watching, everybody. Again, if you liked it, be sure to let us know in the comments down below, or if you want to see more stuff like this, be sure to subscribe. We plan on doing a lot of videos in the future on different tutorials on how to make music, or stuff on how to use Ableton. If there's something else you'd like us to try and make, just let us know and we'll do our best. Thanks again for watching.